It's your brother, Richard Relaford, aka Rich Rel, here, Mission Run Race founder and president, and it's day 3 of 8 days to choose, where we started off in July 3rd, counting down to the birth date of the United States of America. And if you're not in the United States of America, you're watching this, it's okay, because you don't need any special day to start these 8 principles and choose for 8 days to be a better human being and or lead out a better institution, because we believe in both of those. We believe in journeys emotionally, cognitively, experientially, and as a family, as a ohana. And we believe that it both takes individuals and institutions that make up a country, make up a community, that make up a city, an area, that make a choice to choose love over hate, and we become the United States of hate, or the United States of love, not hate. That's the whole point of love. And what we're doing is we're on day 3 here, and it's relate is the principle. We go understand, and you got to stay tuned for the rest of them, but understand, forgive, and now relate. And sometimes looking back is not bad. I know sometimes we always go forward to new things, and that's absolutely true. But looking back at times, especially at history, but even at experiences, because this is the 2nd annual. If you're around last year, we did 8 hours to choose. So you hear a little bit different, not just branding, but a little different approach to where it was already 8 days that we were doing it, but we want to make sure that it's not just about the hour that we were talking then, and we're talking less than an hour now, but it's about taking that day, and then beyond that, it's really about creating habits and or an awareness, a self-awareness around what you're leading, institution, or yourself as an individual, and say, how can we be more understanding, or understand to forgive, relate, heal, connect, reconcile, love, and act to journey towards oneness. It's a lifetime journey, but let's start. We are uniquely the same. Everyone gets to love, right? Those are our founding principles, and we can and will transform this world together with and for love, one heart, one mind, one soul, and one institution, one company, one home, one church, one nonprofit at a time. Okay, and we are seeking out the hearts of the biased, and the bias in our own heart, not in attack, but in relationship. So what we're going to do here for all of this, the point is we're going to look back. And we're going to go ahead and show you day 3, or hour 3 as it was called last year. I kind of don't love watching and looking at myself, so this is where I'm going to check out, and you're going to watch this part. But here's 8 hours to choose, day 3, relate, last year. Here's what I'll give you before we go into it, because I didn't give a tangible, necessarily challenge. That there's a challenge. I want to challenge you with one person or one situation that you know your heart in your heart about, that you say, I just don't understand. I don't just get you. I can't. Or sometimes we even say the word, man, I can't relate to that. How do I relate to that? I'm not a female. How do I relate to that? I'm not from that country. How do I relate to that? I didn't take that path. I didn't make that choice. And it's so easy to judge and or check out. But guess what? I know. I don't want to get deep into it, but we are connected. We affect each other whether we like it or not. This whole last year showed us something, that empty stadiums are not as fun as stadiums with people in them. Empty classrooms are not as fun with people, and churches are not as fun with people. You get what I'm saying? Events, as much as we get on each other's nerves at times, we secretly not only need each other, that's not a secret, but like each other. So let's take a moment and actually strive to relate, even when you think there's not a relation. Because when we come down to it, that 99.9% the same, genetically, spiritually, biologically, all of that is a lot larger than that 0.1. And all of those false degrees of separation, right? Though they're different views and lifestyles and approaches and faith and areas and location and abilities and gender and ethnicity, right? Those are all false lines that separate us and or devalue us. That's not real. Intrinsic difference is not real. Extrinsic difference, preferences, those are real, but those are absolutely really colorful and wonderful and beautiful, and to be celebrated, not to be feared, and definitely not to be used to be biased, discriminatory, prejudiced, hating, racist, sexist, phobic, any of it, right? So let's look at this and look back, and your challenge is to take one thing, one person, one moment, one something that you know you're potentially judgmental about, that you have prejudgment about, that you have prejudice about, if you will, and wrestle with that today. All right? Take a look. and I will see you tomorrow for day 4. Peace and love. In the name of love, mission, and oneness, Rich Rail. I want to be fearless. I'm loving you fearless. I want to be fearless. I'm loving you fearlessly. I want to be fearless. I'm loving you fearlessly. All right. I think we're there. We are here. And I'm gonna be honest with you. For the first time, we stopped. And I don't feel good about it. I want to start off with transparency because I said I'm going to do this and not stop so everyone can see the imperfect nature of us all, of this movement, of me as a person. So I want to apologize to you because we started this and there were so many issues that I let it get to me, like we all have done, and I stopped. And it wasn't for vanity, but I really don't want anyone to check out of listening to any of these hours because of my lack of ability to communicate the truth and the love that I feel has, and I know has founded this 8 hours to choose, but even deeper than that, this mission, one race vision to abolish inequality and more. We're going to simplify it to that for now. And as you dig deeper, you're going to see a lot more, but that's what we're about. There's not a propaganda. There's not an angle. There's not a pro anything. If anything, we're pro humanity and oneness. So this 8 hours to choose, it's kind of self-explanatory, but not really. We're saying 8 days, starting from the birthday that was actually the 244th year of the United States of America, can turn into a marker by which we collectively realize that there's not some force or an outside entity that could change the United States, nor is it static. We collectively, as humanity, 300 million plus of us, can make a decision tomorrow, or AKA on the 4th, to say we're going to choose to be we the people, and yes, it was a play on words, of the United States of love. And that's why you see hate crossed out. I'm not really asking, I'm asking a question, but more proclaiming, let's go there, right? And it starts with ourselves. So the way it marries with Mission One Race is this: our journey is a journey for that reason, because none of us have arrived towards oneness. So what we're doing is saying, let's share over these 8 days the principles by which our curriculum, our content, our collaborations, right, our communities that we're setting up. Yes, these one communities of folks looking for a safe space and place to walk in maybe some new convictions or what's already been there. If you've experienced the beauty of diversity, inclusion, and oneness in your life, and sharing that with others, but folks that maybe not have had the exposure, does that make them a bad person? No. This journey is for anyone on any stage of the journey, any ethnicity, any identity, right? Any vocation, any ability or lack thereof. That's the whole point. Past decisions, future decisions, and people of faith, I come to you in a special place knowing that if anyone knows there needs to be forgiveness and welcomeness and all of that, I'm making up words, just deal with it. That'll happen more. Like, welcomeness, is that a word? It's not the first one or the last one I'll make up. But to get the point across, that's what we're walking through. So when you see hour 1, it's actually hour 3, day 3. We started this with understand and the humility in that. Then we went to from understanding allows us to be able to actually forgive. And that got heavy. We had some moments because it's a little different than personal relationship forgiveness, but it's the same, because the danger in blaming an entire group of people based on our past experiences, negative and or positive, really, even making that assumptions that everyone of any sort of background or gender is all for you, all against you, or all or like this, any prejudices or profiling, that's all wrong. But also the danger is in the fact that getting caught up in any one of those areas is dangerous, because the score is hard to keep track of. Forgiveness wipes the slate. The tough part is it allows us to say, we give up the right to say, I want vengeance, I want restitution for that, and I'm going to give it into God's hands, and I'm going to move forward and be free from that. And now we're at the place where we can say, now maybe we can start to see each other as human beings, and that's where the relate begins to happen. Right? So Mission One Race was founded. You're going to hear throughout this hour. So I'm not going to dive deeply into it right now. We've already talked about it. If you haven't seen hour 2 or hour 1, I would say go back and look at those. Those will give you some backgrounds. But I want to set up this first video that we're going to share. Right? Our agenda is going to be looking at the video called The Package, the beginning of Mission One Race, and then going into the purpose statement of this movement and really grounding ourselves in some unity as we look at the definition of relate and maybe the context of it and things of that sort, right? And roll into a time of really discussion, and then land the plane in some actionable items that could allow you to walk out in a better posture to relate to our fellow human beings. Does that make sense? If not, it will prayerfully by the end of this. Okay. So we're all getting there. No one, have this in your mind, no one has arrived. Listen, if people had the secret weapon, had arrived and they haven't shared it, shame on them, because we all know it's still tough out there, and we're still judging each other and treating each other with not the value and the quality we should. So I'm going to go ahead and share out with you. Yep. And this is called The Package. It's about 7 minutes. Don't check out, because I want to speak to some of it when we come back. So go ahead and comment, do whatever you have to do in this time, but I'm going to share out here. And this is a part of, again, hour 3 of day 3 of 8 Hours to Choose, presented by Mission One Race. I appreciate you all. God bless. Oh, you might want to hold it there, because I think that's it, dude. Wait. You gotta, you're gonna put it down there. That's totally it. That has to be it. This is what happens when you're at home, RJ. Soccer injury. Put the package in front of your face. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. Just a little bit to make it better than changes world. We're about to record for the first time, and I sent my son, my namesake, Richard John Relaford #2, to get the mail. I just thought, okay, go check. I've got a message from the office in our apartment building that there was a package. And I thought to myself, jokingly, what if that, ironically, the day we decide to, start to finally record, what if that is the actual official paperwork for Mission One Race? I thought that'd be funny, and I think it might be. He's coming. We got, this little UPS background. We got a whole bunch of boxes here and letters. All right, so what we got here? So these letters won't be it, I don't think. Could you handle this? I think this deal right here is it. You look through that if you see any government type documentation. But this is what piques my interest. Mission One Race, Richard Relaford. I wonder what this is in reference to. It could be the deal. And as you can see, this is like sealed. This is real. This is not Hollywood action. Well, kind of. No. We just got together and said, hey, you just set up to record here at the house. Unreal, man. So when stuff like this happens, Patrick, when stuff like this happens, it's just like, come on. You can't beat this, man. You can't, come on. It's been such a tough week. It's been such a tough journey already, and just barely getting into the training, but just getting the organization going. Seeing that makes me want to cry. You know, you hear from God and you feel something in your heart, and you say, I'm gonna walk forward, and you have no idea what it can, how to do it or how to approach it or what to do. And then, yeah, I think this is it, man. Yeah, this is the official documentation. Little commercial for you know who, who I used to do it. Richard John Relaford, Mission One Race, thank you for ordering your nonprofit incorporation from LegalZoom. Your corporation documents are enclosed in this package. Your nonprofit corporation is now active. It's official, it's incorporated. Mission One Race was an idea, a concept. When I say Mission One Race, it's like for all people. Understanding that sex, sexuality, race, background, country, able, disabled, all those different things. None of that means we're not equal. All of it, we're equal. So what Mission One Race is inviting people into a mission of saying, how would we live? How would we make choices if we didn't see ourselves as compartmentalized and us and them and us? What would happen if we all went to sleep, we're like knocked out, and then almost had an amnesia, social amnesia, purposeful social amnesia, and we wake up and I see someone. So first of all, I didn't think about this. If we've not looked into a mirror yet, we don't even know what our reflection is, right? That's first of all. So when we're seeing people, we don't know if we're looking at ourselves or not. We don't know if we're identical or whatever. So now our approach to them is going to be fresh and new. It's going to be equal. It's going to be curious maybe, but there's no bias. There is no bias. Bias is developed. Inequality is developed. Racism is developed. That's the extreme of it. Sexism is developed. All of that. So the next part becomes all of the pre-programming of looking at a Latin person, Chinese person, Black person, white person, with preconceived notions or profiles. All that's gone. That's the utopian version of Mission One Race. It's not saying that we don't celebrate all the variety, because at some point you'll start to see, oh, there's different features there, or there's different, that's a slightly different food, or that's slightly different, those ethnicities and those, that's fun, that's variety. So it's not throwing those out. It's not about being colorblind. You still will see color, but those colors won't invoke emotions. That's the most simplistic way to say it.
So I need a definition of Mission One Race.
I'm gonna read it because I had to put it on here to submit it. It forced me to be thorough, so I'm gonna read it. So I can say what the legal documents is gonna say. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
The specific purpose of this corporation is to use education, advocacy, as well as provide direct and indirect services to reach those negatively affected by inequality. Our movement is founded on the truth that we are equal, one humanity. Our mission is to shape the hearts and minds of the world. Not bad. I wrote that. Is that okay, Patrick? It's so hard for me to keep. That was like 2 sentences. That is Mission One Race. So, all my childhood, all the positive and negative events of it. Some of them we shared here. We're going to share more as we go into it, but all in the light of just learning and maybe to build some common ground. And maybe you've been through something. We will also go talk with people, meet them, share. But it will be sharing and highlighting positive. Oh, you might want to hold it there because I think that's it, dude.
Wait.
You gotta. You're gonna put it down there. That's totally it. That has to be it.
Do I need to be mobile? Hang on one second.
This is what happens when you're at home, RJ. Look, soccer injury. Put the package in front of your face. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. We're about to record for the first time, and I sent my son, my namesake, Richard John Relaford #2, to get the mail. I just thought, okay, go check. I've got a message from the office in our apartment building that there was a package. And I thought to myself, jokingly, what if that, ironically, the day we decide to, start to finally record, what if that is that? So, hello. So I appreciate you all. Obviously, whoops #2, but that's all right. You get the point. That beginning was so good that why not watch it again? Before we even move into this purpose statement, I want you to know something. Patrick and I had a moment, AKA I call him Patches O'Houlihan. If you've not seen the movie Dodgeball, that's a reference. There's many reasons why I call him that. But you saw a cultural teaching moment where we began to relate to each other a little bit better when I told Patches this. Now, any of my people of color, of any blend of darker brown skin or black, right? You would notice something in that video. I was ashy. So we're gonna. Again, this subject doesn't always meaning ethnicity and so forth. It doesn't always have to be heavy and so forth. But there's fun moments of truth. So I said to Patrick, your job, if you're ever recording someone again, the person of color, and you see my lips that ashy, you gotta cut. Just cut. There's no explanation needed. Your lips are ashy. Or my knuckles. Did you guys see my knuckles? It looked like I was punching flour bags or concrete. Not acceptable. And he grew from that moment. And to this day, he's still working, doing it in film and documentaries and so forth. And I think he let people know that he's now woke to the concept of ashy. Perfect moment. That's our purpose. Our purpose is moments like that. But I'm going to read it. You saw the moment in the video, and you saw that started in 2018. November. I mean, not the moment I really felt caught into it, but that really walking towards it and launching into things I did not know about and I still don't know about was a part of the journey. And that purpose statement that was read is still the purpose statement, unofficial documentation, but again, through the collaboration of our multi-generational, ethnic, gender, identity, vocation, all these variety we already have on our board, on our council, on our volunteers. And again, if that's something that's resonating in your heart, like I'm telling you, I'm not going to say we have an open door policy, but we definitely have an open door policy in terms of volunteering and being involved and being plugged in somewhere. We absolutely have somewhere for you to serve. And if your skills and your background and passion line up right with your competence, with your character, with your skills and capacity and all that good stuff, then there likely is a place that you could lead out and help with this moment. But the point was that feedback and that input and that collaboration birthed a more beautiful purpose statement than I could have ever made solo. And I'm just being honest about it. So let's read it. Mission One Race's purpose is to change one heart, one mind, and one soul at a time, developing and cultivating communities. Just that alone would be enough, right? But we're going to develop and cultivate, sharing inspired oneness curriculum happening as we speak, and catalyzing experiences. Cannot wait for the Journey 2020. You're going to hear more about that. We encourage conversations that afford educational engagement. We provide services and resources to reach those negatively affected by inequality and injustice. We know that's the truth of it. We know that this is not just a conversation of theoretical, right? Of just a kumbaya, kind of almost just a love fest. There's systemic things we have to address, and we align with folks that's their specialty in terms of like at giving resources to it. So just so you know, we're in the midst of that, but we know our place in this journey, right? We know our place in this work. Arm those seeking knowledge and enlighten those in the dark. So much in that statement. We don't view anyone as out. We just do think that there's some folks that have blinders that maybe we've had before that have disqualified human beings created with value. And for some reason they say, now that's your view, or that's your perspective, or that's what you've been through, or whatever, whether it's a mistake or not, or something they've been, God help us, something they've been born, right? As, I mean, like racism, that's why racism is so intrinsically an issue and so confusing for me, because we all just showed up, right? I don't remember anyone having a conversation with God that said, okay, I want to be a female. I want to be from Colombia, right? And if it's possible, I want these resources or that lack thereof, or whatever case may be. No, abilities. I want to have this disability or that. There's so many things that we have to realize that we were born here, and only God someday will explain and unravel exactly what was going on. But our job is simple: to love. And one person at a time that struggles in that may be in the dark in that. That's what we consider it, to bring some light, not judgment as well. Judging someone that's judging, watch that, also doesn't help. Let's mull over that later. Last statement: our movement is founded on the truth that we are all uniquely the same. And we understand that all are equal and a part of one human race. Let's unpack that a little bit more as I share into some what we do believe and don't believe statements and leaning in here. And this is from our messaging guide, which is also our branding guide. And we've had so much talent so into and bless this movement. People have more to give, have less to give, but either way, I look at each thumbprint and each fingerprint on it, and I get excited, and I want to share as much as possible those moments. So shout out to Kyung Yoon, who helped in huge ways in terms of our look and our feel and our messaging and so forth, and developing this messaging guide, taking just notes and random things that we've talked about. And this is just this is a few pages out of it. And it just simplifies and directs and purposefully talks about who we are, right? And we're going to unpack this over these days as well too. What we talk about, how we talk about what we believe. We are uniquely the same. I'm not going to dig into that more. You're going to hear that consistently. That is, if there's any foundational statement, is that entire statement: we are uniquely the same. And let that potential wording contradiction or like struggle between uniqueness and sameness happen within us all. That's a good tension, right? That's just like saying everyone's special, but then there's 8 billion of us. That's something that only supernaturally we can understand on the next level. How can we all be special, but there be 8 billion of us? It's true though. Everyone gets to love. That one's dangerous for a lot of folks. Even folks that claim they love it, because where are your circles drawn? If everyone gets to love, everyone gets to love. Like there's not, I'm just going to be real as a person of faith. There's not a verse that I've read of is not that person gets it. Because really the extreme is this: love your enemy. We're going to get to that later in number 7, day 7, hour 7. Next fundamental belief. We believe, this might sound small, but walk with me. We believe we can transform the world together. So that in itself has to be unpacked. We actually believe that we can impact. So when you come out and go, well, this is just the way of the world, there's just people, whether it's around this subject or whether it's around cancer or whether it's around extreme poverty, whether it's around depression or whether it's around whatever systemic issues that say, hey, just the world is what it is, accept it, put your head in the sand and just look out for yours. And then there's people that say, no, I want to leave potentially this place in a better place in whatever sphere of influence I have. That's a fundamental belief of Mission One Race. We can transform the world, but watch this together. I had to learn that myself. I was oftentimes, without knowing it, because of trust or insecurity, not inviting everyone into it. So I was trying to do what's right? Even the title, Man on the Mission, the Search for Oneness. Guess what the man on the mission for the Search for Oneness found out is, you better get a team. Because you could be on a mission and you're going to fall short. And that's what happened together. But what's the purpose? We can transform the world together for love, with love. Can seem like a contradiction. We're changing for love with love. There's nothing more powerful than love. Nothing. One heart, mine, yours, that one person, that one conversation. So we love when there are thousands are watching. We love when there's hundreds watching, but we'll do it with one person. I would have this conversation. If there's one person viewing now, all of this effort was worth it. I mean it. One mind. We do understand there are there's some brainwashing that's happened in all of us, is what I'm saying, whether we admit it or not, through images, through media, through news, through experiences, through parenting, that we bring from our childhood, that we then grow up and go, wow, maybe that's not the world. Maybe that's not that person. And then one soul at a time. I unapologetically say there is a component of this that's our emotions, our minds, but also our beings. Right? Whether you call it energy or whatever you want to talk about, there's a being part of this that has to be transformed as well. Last but not least, very important on this statement, and then I'll more quickly hit the 4 not beliefs, just to differentiate. So you really say, what is this movement about? We seek the hearts of the biased. We're not on a witch hunt, if you will, to say I heard that word, put them on blast, tar and feather them, throw them out. Because watch this. Isn't that the same problem with the person and what they're potentially doing when they're being biased? So now if you excommunicate, if you will, the person with the bias or believing in the darkness, then we actually perpetuate the problem. So we seek the hearts of the bias, not in attack, but in relationship. You're invited. Next slide. So here is quickly, these are some cornerstone areas where I see there's a misconception, or there are seasons for some of these things, but there's a next dimension of them. And you're going to see what I'm talking about very quickly. Let's just read through them together. And then we're going to change speeds and get into some of the actual word for today. But I think it's very important to be like, who is this person and who is this movement that's speaking on this touchy subject matter? How we walk in it? Let me tell you how we walk in it and try to stay away from error the most we can, if you will. We try to stay in love. Try to ask ourselves, is this loving? This is why we don't believe in colorblind. We don't believe in colorblind. Watch. Culture and color and diversity and uniqueness are not the problem. We assume colorblindness. When we assume colorblindness as a productive means to reconciliation, we cannot fully witness, celebrate, and enjoy the complex beauty represented in our difference. Colorblindness, if you've been a part of it, I'm not mad. No one's mad at you, but let's upgrade and say, I want to see the color, celebrate all of us in the image and likeness of our creator and all this beautiful nuances. That's the fun stuff. So what we're actually submitting to folks is not just a mandate of saying like, get your diversity right. Man, you better wake up. We're actually saying you're missing out. Join the party. Join the movement of the revival of folks that are saying, wait a second. Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't get it, but maybe I can get it. And even if I'm not 100% with it, like, man, do your thing. I see your value. I'm going to do it this way. We're cool. Next one. We don't believe in only highlighting diversity. That might hit some people. There's folks that invested their life in this. I worked in corporate America as well as in education, like I said, in entertainment and athletics in terms of football. And I hear a lot about diversity. Here we go. We don't believe in only highlighting diversity. While our unique differences, mostly extrinsic, must be honored, we can't concentrate on diversity alone. This leads to further division, and we're not going after oneness. Do you hear what I'm saying there? In that diversity session, when you get done pointing out the 0.1%, because 99.9%, even genetically now, as they do new tests that aren't biased, because there's scientists in the past, even folks preaching in the past, false truths about how we're intrinsically, like I said, just made different capacity and all that stuff. Not real, not true, even genetically. And watch that. So we have to land the plane in sameness. Let's celebrate the nuances and diversity and all that stuff. But majority of us as human beings are the same. I mean that. Like, I'm not, again, don't confuse what I'm saying here. Not the same in terms of experience or education or vocation, all that, but the intrinsic qualities of us. Next, we don't believe in tolerance. We don't believe that tolerance is enough. Again, if tolerance is your first step, I'm not dogging you, but merely tolerating humanity, which is beautifully, uniquely, and wonderfully made, lacks the real love and true compassion. We must move beyond tolerance and acceptance towards reverence of all humanity. Let's not tolerate a divine creation. Let's have a moment of appreciation for that person. We don't believe in assimilation. So again, you might hear Mission One Race. This may be the one I should have started with. You say, man, this man's trying to make a master race. I'm proud to be this and that. I am too. I'm thankful because God intentionally brought me here for whatever reason, as a Black male in America, in a country with a torn past around it that came with a lot of struggles that I would say, man, why? But I wouldn't change it. And you shouldn't be seeking to change yours. As a female in a world that subjects females so consistently and so horribly in the sex trafficking internationally, more people in slavery now than ever. You could ask yourself, why would I be a female in this male, almost dominant on paper, right, and in position world? But it was for a reason. Almost a calling, if you will. That's a whole nother conversation, to be what we're to be in this. So we don't want to assimilate. Celebration of diversity is foundational to the expansion and varied expressions of God's love. Let us all take the attributes of all people and cultures, because it leads to better relationships, organizations, and life as a whole. Next slide. This is perfect timing, you guys. So this is the actual curriculum. She said all of that, we've been 30 minutes in, and this is what I actually wanted to tell you. If you've ever seen me speak before, long introduction, short message. It's just the pattern. It's just how I flow. Long introduction, short message, because I believe that my heart is at a place that we actually can dig into the matter at hand. So day 3, hour 3, just reviewing with you, we did understand, forgive. Now let's usher in relate, which obviously is a root word to relation and so forth. Let's look at I'm gonna have a verse for you that I'm gonna hit second. I'm gonna hit this definition, and we're gonna just marinate in this place for a bit and have a little bit of a discussion around it as well, if you don't mind. So watch this. Relate, the dictionary version of it. To make or show a connection between. Relate, to feel sympathy with, identify with. If we thought forgiveness was tough, but if we manage that and we're in this place where we don't just say, okay, I can see the fact that they're a human being, I would submit to you that's not enough. Apathy is what's tearing us apart in a lot of ways. So a lack of care and or action. And this is saying when you relate, you can sympathize. And guess what actually happens? I would even submit that empathy begins to happen. And we know the difference there. Sympathy is, I've never directly been a part of that. Empathy says, I have been a part of it, and therefore I can feel it even more. And even if you're not that specific ethnicity, gender, race, lifestyle, or have that background, there's a human connection that happens when we relate that then shifts and rewires our hearts. And then when you can identify with it, man, I had a moment yesterday, you saw in that hour, where I just was able to identify with that father and his daughter. That I'm able to identify with a person that is hated because of their expression of their affection. That a person is walked by and viewed as a bump in the road when they get to a certain age. Move out of the way, old person. We're going there. See, because Mission One Race is not just racial reconciliation, it's human reconciliation. And we're going to go there with the slide that we hit next. But I want us to find out there's a place to relate to every single human on this earth. and make sure that our hearts are checking in line with him, and that connection, which is actually expanded upon when we get to day 6. We're going to talk about that, or day 5. I got my hours are mixed up. You're going to see what I'm talking about, but make a sure connection. Luke 6:31 says, treat others the same way you want them to treat you. You don't even listen. I'm not assuming a majority of you watching this may be Christian. It's a high probability. We have like 350 million people here. I think the studies have shown, or census has shown, that we got close to 140 million folks that claim Christianity. And I'm gonna say it just like that, because claiming it and walking it and being loving the way Christ actually did is very different things. Religion and relationship are very different things. But we all can understand this, right? This is almost like the golden rule, right? We take some of these things out of context and like, okay, it's relatable and understandable. Look what this verse is saying. Treat others the same way you want them to treat you. Watch this. No one watching this, including myself, has walked a life without offending someone, without making a mistake, without falling short, without being just a jerk, without, I'm just being right, about judging someone, all of these different things. I don't know what else to say. And guess what we all want? We want a second chance. We want a third chance. We want a fourth chance, a fifth chance. We want a chance to say, I can change. You ever be frustrated with someone saying, like, I can actually change? So this conversation is not just about the folks, again, that we're in the dark right now, that we're seeing in our society, that's saying, I have done something. I'm not going to share the person's name, but someone went public once and said, I actually had a moment where something happened to me or my mother, and I went out and was looking for people that looked like that person, that reminded me of them. Watch this, and was actually physically thinking about doing something to them, because my mind went to a weird place, and I thought all people like that need to pay because of what they did to my mother. And he shared it. I'm not even going to say the name, but he said, I didn't. I caught myself. Instead of that being a moment of like, wow, of introspection and like self-evaluation, saying, have I done that too? I bet all of it. Listen, I have. Whether it's a gender comment, all women are like, whether it's a this group of people, they can't do this. It's dangerous. Joke setting in the midst of relationship, maybe tolerable, or even like if we're laughing together, fine. But when it's concrete like that, so much so that our mind gets blocked and we go out and we forget that we want to be treated with forgiveness. We want to be treated with value, right? What do you want to be treated? You want value, you want respect, you want to have a second chance. You want to be, so to just project that onto how I am challenging you potentially to relate to others. I think that's the conclusion. Because if you look at relation, if you look at some of the components of it, watch this. An antonym of relation, it's even hard to find. If relate, if they say the antonym of relate is unrelated. Okay, it's kind of weak. But I'll say maybe it's distance, indifference, denial, even judgment. Isn't that almost the opposite? So not only can I not relate to you, I cannot believe that's how you eat. I can't believe that's the food you eat. I can't believe that's like your lifestyle. I can't believe, like, it's just almost like aboveness. It's a lack of humility in a place. Relating, you almost can't have it either without some form of humility. Saying, let me actually seek to understand. And then from there may be some relation in place. If you look at the context of it, if we create space to not prejudge, by the way, unpack that word prejudice, prejudge, to prejudge, or have prejudice, relation can help push that out. And then from this relating, you're going to find yourself having relationships with people, which we will help do in our one communities. We're going to talk about what you'll find yourself in relationship. And once that happens, that's the sweet spot. Once, I'm telling you, once you have the first friendship or more, I don't know, once you have that, you can't even go back, because your mind's not going to let you. You're going to be sitting there hearing a comment about people in some particular group, and you're like, wait a second. Doris isn't like that. I'm just picking names. Clinton's not like that. Clifton's not like that. Jackie's not like that. Donovan's not like that. And you're going to be like, I have a relationship that contradicts this assumption, right? this hate, this sexism, this racism, this phobia, whatever it is, or a person that's had a background that contradicts that. So therefore, I have to choose a different route.
Okay.
Dude, you're good.
Come over here.
We gotta go quick because you know by the time somebody spots us, we're gonna get. So
Hello.
So impromptu. We're at San Gabriel Mission, and it's closed clearly because it's like the middle of the night. And Patrick, what did you say to me? Like, what are we doing?
I said it's closed. I said just. This is like the time my friend said, "Hey, let's go to climb the fence at the cemetery at midnight."
We don't want to know that story. What? I don't. That doesn't end well.
Well, it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
That's not why we're here.
All right, so I'm gonna get over here and just be your light man.
Yeah.
You're the cameraman today.
So be the light man. So here's the deal. San Gabriel Mission in San Gabriel, California. We will be back in this location, basically April 11th of 2019. This will be after a 57-mile run, Patrick. It will be day 4 of the Mission 1 race. I don't know what kind of condition I'm gonna be in at this point. This is the second longest leg. 57 miles through some pretty rugged terrain.
In one day?
One day. Yeah, the mileages are, and I'm saying them like this is easy. I've never done anything like this before. The Ironman, oh gosh, dude, you're gonna have me burning. I gotta do some working out now. This is heavy.
I'll hold it for you.
Oh, thank you, gosh. Don't make fun of me. Founded 1771. Here's the thing about the missions. First of all, God gave me the word mission. It was never Mission 1 race. It was one race for years of my life. Like, we're one race. And I did just mean at that time race as in ethnicities. But I've later been schooled on the fact that race really is a human construct. There's no such thing as race. There's no such thing as race. There's ethnicities, and in the Bible it lists or says it as nations, all nations. Nowadays we know that there's technically 24,000 different nations groups or groups of people. These missions have a mixed emotions to them. There are many people that were segregated and done wrong in the name of religion and other things, but not all of them. All of the heart of the mission or the intent behind the mission wasn't all dark. It became dark in some of the exploitation of people and so forth. But I don't think the original heart of it was that. But nonetheless, we're not gonna be naive. Though God gave me the word to go to the missions, we're gonna have a vigil, and starting with the Native Americans that were negatively affected by the planting of these missions, and then some of the other more modern issues, obviously slavery, homicide, genocides, the Holocaust, all these different events, and smaller events, lynchings, and some of the unfair bashing of homosexuals, and just the disownment of the disabled and misunderstanding. Those that are living on our streets often are mentally handicapped, and so we just forget about people. We just forget about people. We just flat on say either get with the mainstream, get with the main group, and or categorize you, right? And minimize you and move on and just step over them. That's not okay. Mission 1 race is not just about race as an ethnicity, but as a human race. It's way bigger than what I ever wanted to try to tackle. And of course I can't tackle it. I'm just being obedient to what I felt called to do. And I'm hoping people join, whether it's physically at the race. I think we're gonna find a way to do it virtually. These are notes. Patrick's like, oh, I didn't know we're gonna do. This stuff is just coming to me. We're gonna have you can virtually run with us as well. So you're gonna know my route, my course, kind of my check-ins or where we're gonna be, or you can physically come here. Give to it, because we're gonna need finances to help benefit those organizations that we've identified, but as well the work that we're gonna be doing. And it starts with this race, April 7th through the 14th. We overthink so much, and the basics of this movement is this: love somebody. So I'm gonna check the map here. Might tell, look at this Spanish Trail. This is what we're gonna do. Dude, we're gonna go from down here, on this border, So there is a mission trail. So the old Spanish trail, we're gonna make sure that the route that I've set is the actual old Spanish trail. I know people are thinking like, dude, if you don't even know the course, you probably shouldn't do this. I agree. I didn't want to do this. That's what's hilarious. Like, I don't like, this is not well thought out. It's not careless. We're gonna plan it and plot it because I wanna be able to invite people into it. So you need to know where we're gonna be, but we're going with it, man. This is where I'm gonna finish. The chapel's this way. So this is where we're gonna hope to have services. At each of the missions, we're gonna hope to have services in the chapels. It's a little creepy. Be honest, it's epic, but it's a little like, there's some stuff that happened here for sure, right? Like, this is history. Look at this though. Saint Anthony Mary Claret, 1807 to 1870. I mean, that's 63 years. I'm assuming that is the original gate. Let's take a look. And that's pretty much it, because we don't want to press our luck. We've gotten away with a lot here. I'm surprised. Well, we haven't done anything wrong, but still, this is legit private property.
Right.
I mean, oh, dude, hold on. This is the cemetery, bro. Why would I say we're gonna end here? I wish you guys were here. Like, we can't plan this. Why are we ending at the cemetery, Patrick? He goes, oh.
That's where all endings happen.
Yeah, good point. I know that my Redeemer liveth. I think we are. I don't think we'll be.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Can I help you? We're just checking out the.
We're doing a documentary.
Huh?
We're doing a documentary, and I was just checking out the outside and stuff. In April, I'm gonna run to the missions.
Okay.
I'm gonna run from San Diego to San
the
Luis
first-
to San Juan
The
Capistrano.
first one, Senor.
Huh?
Yeah,
Yep.
the first
Exactly. And then I'm gonna
This is
land.
number 4.
Exactly. I'm coming here to number 4. I'm doing number 4 here, and in
San
the
Fernando
morning.
number 5.
Huh?
San Fernando is number 5.
Yep. And then San Buenaventura, right? Is
7.
Yep. And I'm gonna end in Santa Barbara.
Oh, that's 8.
Yep. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go to, and my hope is to have a service,
Okay.
like a short, like 15-minute service in there, not formal, just a prayer vigil of sorts.
Oh, I see.
Is that okay?
Okay.
Do they allow that?
No. Well, it depends where you're going to be. And you got, where are you going to start?
Right at 6. Because I'm gonna start running like at 6:15 or
In the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Would that work?
why not?
This is gonna be good. Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
I feel like Rocky, some kind of superhero down this thing, right? Dude, that couldn't have been better. Right? You don't even know what to do. But this is the lesson learned here. Here's the lesson learned. Trust Rich Vale.